Welcome there. Okay, so we are good to go. So we're going to talk about these two models and how, for me, look, I'm going to be perfectly transparent with you. I would never consider a pay model on social media. And I know some people don't believe, and I don't believe that YouTube is necessarily social media, but I would never, ever try to hitch my wagon to some sort of pay model on social media. To me, it is the absolute worst way that you can monetize. And when I talk about monetizing, the type of content that I talk about monetizing is very, very specific. I am not talking about lives where you're dancing around being a goofball. I am talking about, I know a subject very well, and I'm going to share about that subject right now. That's exactly what we are talking about here. Let me notify my community that I'm doing a bonus live here. All right, hang on one second. Because I'm sharing things on my community, because most of this and the most effective part of this is going to take place on my YT. So I am going to suggest that if you want to get the full experience of this, that you go to my YT and you don't necessarily stay here. And by the way, if you don't know what that is, I'm going to go ahead and put that in the comments right here. Hang on one second. Yeah, so this isn't real exciting on here on TikTok, but it's going to be a lot better. Going to be a lot better if you do it on my my YT. So let's see, where's my comment? There it is. Okay, so if you want to join my YT and like see all the slides and everything, this is what you're going to do. You're going to go to, hang on a second. There we go. There we go. Now, let's pin this comment. And if I mistakenly invited you, I apologize. That was not the deal. Okay, so let's go over here. Let's do this. Let's copy that. And let's notify the community. As an announcement. There we go. Okay, so everybody over there knows that we're doing a bonus. So here's what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about, because really, I don't believe necessarily in the whole anything other. Look, as far as like monetizing content, I don't believe that the way to do it is on this platform, unfortunately. This is not the way to do it, because you're not dealing with the type of audience who can help you consistently monetize. One of the things that people don't understand when they are selling on a social media platform is that you're going to be lucky if you get one sale out of that person. And it is harder to take, it's harder to generate the trust to get somebody to buy once than it is to and constantly find new people, as opposed to finding a way to deliver value to people every single month so they'll pay you every month. Because that way your revenue stacks on top of itself every single month. And if you are saying to yourself, well, I don't have any I don't have anything that I could create a membership on. Yes, you do. You 100% do. And all you have to do is just you just gotta see yourself as a person that has that value. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to bring myself down, way down. There we go. And I'm going to bring myself over here. And so what we're going to talk about primarily is not how to do anything here on TikTok. We're going to talk about primarily how to do this on YouTube, because it has been proven that, and I'm going to just kind of move this out of the way because it's getting kind of weird. It has been proven that YouTube has a higher quality of audience. It's proven. They pay more, they have more money, they're more serious about the subject. It's proven. There's not even a debate that the better audience is on YouTube. Because if you think about it, people go on to TikTok. You only found me because you were scrolling past lives, right? But on YouTube, people search for things. Now, yes, you can go live and find new people on YouTube as well, but YouTube is where people go to search for things. If you want to learn how to do your garden, like my wife, then you're going to go, right? You're going to go to a place where somebody's making content about gardens. My wife has done that many times. And if you are looking for information on that, then that's what you're going to do. You're not going to go to TikTok, because TikTok generally is only going to give you 45-second snippets. Or 15-second snippets. You're not going to learn. You're not going to be educated on TikTok. That's just the bottom line. You're only going to be educated if you spend the time to go to a platform here like YouTube. Because on YouTube, there's a lot more flexibility, right? You can demonstrate more things on YouTube. You can, you just have the ability to do so much more on a platform like YouTube. But YouTube is the engine that drives that monthly recurring revenue. And let me show you what I mean here. So we're going to talk about AdSense, because this is primarily what we're talking about. AdSense is if you're going to get paid by your content, AdSense is the way to do it. It is not the creator program. It is not TikTok Shop. It is not those things. Because AdSense is the way that people make the most money, when you talk about people being full-time YouTubers. But I want you to think about it differently. I want you to think about content that drives people off the platform. That's what I want you to think about. So we're going to talk about AdSense versus community, the revenue. And I'm giving you the true pros and cons here, okay? I am not sugarcoating this. I am not going to do anything other than to give you the pros and cons, and then you can make up your own mind as to whether or not this is something that you want to pursue. So I'm going to move myself actually over here. So, and by the way, yes, I did develop this in Claude, and I did it just a handful of minutes ago. So here's the first thing that you have to realize when you are talking about these platforms. It's a revenue model. They're fundamentally different, and the pros of AdSense are it's quote unquote passive, but we all know that it's not, because what you have to do is you have to constantly make content. And personally, I would rather go live for a half hour and take questions and talk with people every single day, or Monday through Friday anyway, and then maybe spend a couple hours a week on a YouTube video. I'd rather do that than making 20 pieces of content on a platform. Because you know what that makes you? A content hamster. Or if you want to get even more blunt about it, you become a content slave for the platform. As opposed, and look, if you go live on TikTok for a half hour, you're not going to get any reach. And so primarily, I don't care how many people show up on this live, because the real value is over on YouTube. So, by the way, if you look at my pinned comment, you'll see where my YouTube is. But it's about passive. They say it's passive. But honestly, they're calling that a pro. I'm calling that actually false. But the ads do run without you doing extra work, right? That is the ad revenue model. There isn't selling required when you're doing ad revenue. Yeah, the income comes from the views, and then those views are put in front of ads, and so you get paid on those clicks. It does scale with audience size automatically. It's lower friction for the viewer because it's free content. All they have to do is watch the content, and they get rewarded by the information. You get rewarded by the revenue that's generated. So it does work even when you sleep or travel, because you have already created the content once, and theoretically, it is going to reward you over and over again. But we know it doesn't work that way, because the problem is these videos have a shelf life. And once they reach that shelf life, they rarely continue to generate views. It's rare, right? And there's no customer service. There's no memberships to manage or anything like that, right? There's no customer relationships that you have to manage. So that's all great. But now let's look at the cons. The income is wildly unpredictable. Wildly. I saw a video. I saw a woman the other day, and I think it was in a school group. I saw a woman the other day saying she had like 400,000 followers, and she was getting 1 million views a month. And because of the niche or the topic category where she was creating content, you know how much money she was making? $30 a month. For 1 million views a month, she was making $30. So is that really a great model? I don't personally think so, because you don't own anything. You don't control anything. If they decide not to push your video out, then you don't make any money. Or even if you do get lots of views, depending on what category you're in, you don't make a lot of money. So this creator economy dream is dead for most people. It's dead. You're not going to make anything on YouTube Lives. You're not going to make anything from the Creator Rewards program. It's dead. It's a dead model. So the income is wildly unpredictable because the RPMs fluctuate like crazy. It requires massive scale to earn a livable income. Massive. All right? And again, you do not own this audience. You don't control this at all. Just like you don't control your TikTok. You have no control whatsoever. So the idea is get people off of a platform and into a spot that you own. It's like building a house on rented land. You just wouldn't do it. And I have a full video on that in my masterclass. But you just would not build a house on rented land. So why are you building an audience and relying on monetizing that audience on a platform that you do not own? So those algorithm changes, they can kill you. They can gut your revenue overnight, right? And so what they do is they force you into this relentless content treadmill. I like to call it the content hamster wheel, because you just keep cranking out the content. And if that wheel quits spinning, you quit earning money, right? There's no recurring base. You start at zero every single month. That's why I don't like digital products. I don't like selling products, because there's no guarantee of what your income is going to be next month. But if you like the instant gratification of making a sale, then maybe that's the way that you want to go. But they're so few and far between. that you cannot predict anything. So there is no recurring basis at all, right? You start at zero every month. And then ads, believe it or not, the more ads that people see in your content, the more you erode their trust over time. Because you begin to see their content is just a way to push ads, especially if you do sponsored posts or you have like these big long sponsor commercials in your content. So let's talk about the membership model. It's predictable monthly recurring revenue that stacks on itself and it grows. You do own the audience because you're getting people off of social media. And I'm not talking about email lists. All right, you can connect somebody's email list, but I'm not talking about selling an email list. Because do you want to be on an email list? I know I don't. So that's why I don't really concern myself with that whole model of the email list anymore. I don't like it. I never have. And after a while, people just quit listening. They just quit listening. They don't care anymore, right? So it is, but it's something that you own the audience and you own the relationship. Because the thing that they don't tell you about, with that whole thing with YouTube, or I just saw a story where thousands of creators are being deplatformed on YouTube. Thousands are being deplatformed, but the membership model secures your audience, right? They secure your audience. So, and even a small audience can generate serious income. I saw an interview the other day where a guy who teaches. Now, and you want to talk about niche content, and as an aside, you better niche down. You have to niche down. You have to choose a topic that is going to have people say, oh, okay, I know that person. They talk about this. If you just try to simply wing it, right? And I'm going to talk about raised beds this week, and I'm going to talk about crafts next week, and I'm going to talk. You're never going to get any traction because nobody is going to know who you are. You're not going to develop any sort of brand identity. And I know Gary Vee has talked about this a lot, that a personal brand is the most important thing that you can develop because it develops trust with people. And a personal brand is based on you. It's not a created or curated version of yourself. But even a small audience can generate serious income. So I was listening to an interview on another YouTube channel with a guy who teaches, are you ready for this? He teaches people how to play guitar, how to become guitar players, not just teaches people how to do scales and stuff like that, but he teaches people how to become a guitar player. And he does it, are you ready for this? He does it solely or primarily through Grateful Dead songs. So he has tapped into a very specific niche of people. And that's how he teaches. He uses Grateful Dead, and then I think he uses Beatles and Bob Dylan and the Allman Brothers, but he teaches a very specific thing. And he's only got like 6,000 followers on YouTube. But he's making like $15,000 a month teaching in his community, with a community that is $49 a month. Right? $49 a month. And if you want to learn to play guitar, $49 a month is a lot cheaper than one-on-one lessons where you only get like 30 minutes a week with somebody. I remember I used to play, I used to take guitar lessons. And I was taking guitar lessons for $17 a lesson. I was only getting 30 minutes with that instructor every single week. We really didn't get into the subject within those 30 minutes. And it just felt like it was a 30-minute jam session that I was paying for. Right? But if you think about it, I was paying $17 a week, so I was paying $68 a month to not really make any progress. Whereas with a community model, you can spend hours upon hours with that creator or that teacher for like $49 a month. So it's a much better model, not only for you, but it's also a much better model for the person who is receiving the teaching. So even with that small audience, right? Even with that really small audience, I'm going to bring myself over here a little bit. Even with that really small audience, you can clean up, right? You can absolutely clean up. And like I said, the income compounds. You add new members, it adds to your base. And a membership model is like doubling a penny versus getting $1 million. Anybody ever heard of this before? And by the way, if you are watching me here on TikTok, I suggest you follow me over to the other platform where I can actually show you screens, and we can have more fun. We can interact there. So I'm going to check in with the comments and see if we have any or any questions. Not at this time. So it is all about building for the future. Again, the reason I do not like digital marketing product sales is because there's no incentive for that person to help you once they have your money. No incentive whatsoever for them to help you, right? And I'm taking too long on these, so I'm going to start speeding through these a little bit. But you build a deeper relationship. Right? You build a deeper relationship with people, and you drive more loyalty and retention with a membership model. I saw somebody comparing high ticket sales versus low ticket memberships, and they were saying the churn is too high in a low ticket membership. Well, not if you build a good relationship with people and you continue to provide good ongoing value for them. And why I like that model is because I'm not getting a lot of somebody's money, so I have to build trust with them. I have to make what I'm creating good for them. If I don't, then they're not going to stay. But that puts the pressure on me to create something that they want to continue to pay for. And if you make it something that they can afford, they're not even going to think about it next month, right? They're not going to think about it. But it drives deeper relationship and loyalty and retention. You control the price. You can raise it at any time. And the more you add to it over time, the more valuable it becomes. And the more wins that you get for people with whatever you're teaching them, the more valuable it becomes over time. And so the more assets that you add in your community, the more you can charge for your community. And there's no algorithm dependency. Now, the membership model, and I don't agree here personally. I think it doesn't require selling. I know that's what it says even here on Claude, which helped me come up with these templates, but it doesn't really, to me, it doesn't require selling, because you prove your worth and then you say to somebody, hey, if you want more, it's over here. That's it. It's not, you don't have to get on sales calls, right? You don't have to have some big complicated funnel. The guy that is making $15,000 a month teaching Grateful Dead bass guitar, he just has a YouTube channel. He goes live on his YouTube channel, and then he directs people over to his community. So there's no funnels, there's no email follow-up, there's no high-pressure sales calls, there's no Zoom meetings, none of that stuff, right? So, and granted, not everybody's comfortable, but it doesn't have to be high-pressure sales. And members do expect ongoing value and engagement, so you know that they care about them. One of my favorite things about my community is the fact that I get people that make comments like, I feel like I belong in this community. And I don't know about you, but that is just as valuable to me as making money. Because for me, if you're not getting what I promised you, or you're not getting an added benefit over what I promised, you, then I'm not doing my job, right? Now, they say churn is a constant challenge to manage, and it is slower to start. But I want you to think about it like that penny doubled every day over a month. If you double a penny every day over a month, you're going to get to like $1 million. And that would seem great. So if somebody said to you, I'm going to give you $1 million up front, or you can have a penny doubled every day for 30 days. Do you know at day 30, if you double that penny every day, and you just have the patience to allow that thing to develop over time, if you took the $1 million up front, you're leaving $4 million on the table that you could have by just a little bit of patience, right? So I don't believe that the churn is necessarily there to the degree that they say it is. You know, I'm not a believer that it is that churn is a constant thing that you have to manage. If you make something that's good, people will stay. And if you create an incentive for them to stay by recommending other people so their membership becomes free, then they have no reason to leave. And that's called an affiliate program, and that's easy to put together with literally one toggle of a switch. So it is slower. It can be slower to start than ad revenue at scale. It can be, but if you know how to promote the offer that you're creating for people, it's not, right? Platform fees. Now, they're basing this on school at $99 a month. There is now a hobby plan with school that's $9 a month. So you have that. Income predictability. RPMs, again, swing. You could make $1 per 1,000 views, or you could make $15 per 1,000 views. It just depends on your niche. And a lot of people choose niche based on how much money they're going to make, but they don't understand that's not the way to build trust with your audience, because it shows that you're only about the money and you're not about the subject. January is a notoriously brutal month for ad revenue. A demonetized video can create instant income loss. There's no floor. Your worst month has no safety net whatsoever. With a community, members pay on a set date every month, and it's different for different members depending on when they get involved. You can forecast revenue weeks in advance. You have monthly recurring revenue, which gives you a reliable floor, and then you just keep stacking on top of that. And bad content weeks don't tank your income. All right? So, audience ownership. Again, let's go back to audience ownership. I'm here on TikTok. They could take me away tomorrow. YouTube could theoretically take me away, although it's less likely they're going to take me away than TikTok would, because I am constantly telling you about better alternatives to TikTok. So viewers belong to whatever platform you're on, and I'm not going to mention any more other than TikTok here by name. But you can see it here on the screen, here on YouTube. But they belong to that platform, not you. You have no direct contact with that audience, especially on YouTube, because unless you make it abundantly clear how they can get in touch with you, all they can do is make comments. And that's not really connecting with those people. But if you get them into a place that you own, you can deepen the conversation with them. Platforms can suspend, restrict, delete your channel, and you're one policy change away from losing everything with AdSense. With a community, you have the contact info, you have a direct relationship, your community exists independently of any algorithm, the members choose you, not a platform, so you have their undivided attention, unlike on a platform where there's constantly videos popping up for them to go see. And it's portable. Your relationship survives. If for some reason TikTok disappeared tomorrow, wouldn't affect my income in the least. If for some reason YouTube disappeared tomorrow, I would have a backup plan, right? AdSense is a high volume content type of thing. It's non-negotiable. If you do not continue to crank out videos, because they all lose shelf life, if you don't continue to do that, taking a break means your income drops. Optimizing for the algorithm, not the audience. So you're not really building content based on what your passion is. You're building it based on what you believe the algorithm wants, right? And so, and burnout is extremely common in that arena, where a community, fewer high quality touch points, income continues. It's easier to manage, right? My wife and I went we went to a concert last weekend about 2 hours away from us, and I was able to hold a weekly call on my phone in the car. The only time we had an issue, because I was on my phone. And you have that mobile capability with the community. You create transformation. You create for transformation, not for clicks. And it's sustainable long term. Now, revenue ceilings, RPM is fixed. You can't charge more per view. The only lever is more content or a bigger audience. Income grows linearly with effort, right? Your niche directly caps your RPM potential. In a community, that type of model, you set the price, you can raise it, you can add premium tiers, you can add more in-depth experiences for people. Revenue compounds as members stay and they refer other people. And 100 members at $97 a month is nearly $10,000 a month. So think about it from that standpoint. So if you love producing high volumes of content, I mean, if you just love cranking out videos, and this one flops, and this one flops, and this one flops, and this one does okay, great. If you want fully passive with no selling income, but we all know the passive part is a lie. It's not passive because you have to constantly produce the content. That's not passive, right? You're building a media brand at massive scale, only if you can get a large audience. You are comfortable with income volatility because it's going to go way up and it's going to go way down. And you don't want direct relationships with people. You just kind of want people to watch your stuff and hope that a platform pays you. But if you want predictable recurring monthly income, you want depth of relationships over reach, you want to feel like you know your audience, because that's much more valuable than 75 people making, hey, that's neat comments on a video. You want your own audience relationship. You want to own it, right? You value that sustainability over the hustle culture of, I got to make a video today, I got to make a video today. And you want income that compounds and not resets. Then that's what you want, right? So it is up to you. It is up to the type of lifestyle that you want, right? It's up to the amount of work that you want to do as to what you think this is going to be beneficial to you. So we have gone way over, but what I want to do here is I want to see if there are any questions. So let me go back to this. Are there any questions? Because if there aren't, we're a couple minutes over, but if there aren't, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. We're going to take the clock down here, right? Are there any questions? If not, continue to check out I love how this happens. I don't know why this happens. But if not, continue to check out my content here on YouTube. If you're watching me on TikTok, then for all purposes, I mean, by all means, my God, get off TikTok and go over to YouTube. Way better in-depth stuff. I can share screens. I'm able to demonstrate things. I'm able to show you testimonials. I'm able to show you case studies of what people have done. You can't do that any of this stuff on TikTok. But over here on YT, you can. So subscribe to the channel over there. where I give you way more in-depth information, and I show you how you can work with me if you want to. Okay? Talk to you guys later. Have a great day.